Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United are out of the FA Cup after losing 3-1 to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter final. It was a very disappointing performance by Manchester United. It was a very good team performance by Leicester. Iheanacho was superb. He scored 2 goals and also got an assist. Tielemans, he was superb. He scored one of Leicester's goals. Perez, I thought he was quiet in the first half, but he was much better in the second half. Perez had a couple of good chances. Jamie Vardy, I thought he was quiet in the first half, but he was much better in the second half. Jamie Vardy had a fantastic chance in the second half. He was one-on-one with Dean Henderson, but he put it wide. And he had a good chance in the early stages of the first half, produced a good save from Dean Henderson. Johnny Evans, he was very good for Leicester defensively. Fofana, he had a good game. Wilfred Ndidi, he also did very, very well. But Leicester, they passed the ball well, they committed men forward and caused us all sorts of problems. And defensively, they were good. The only positive from a Manchester United perspective was Greenwood's goal. It was a very good goal as well. Paul Pogba had it, crossed it, good dummy from Donny van de Beek, and Mason Greenwood hit it first time. I think Greenwood did alright, to be fair, and Alex Telles did quite well when he was on. Martial, he looked very, very isolated in the game. Martial did have a chance in the game. Bruno Fernandes, he had a chance from a free kick, produced a good save from Peter Schmeichel. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brought 4 substitutions on at once. He brought Edison Cavani on, he brought Bruno Fernandes on, he brought Scott McTominay on, and he brought Luke Shaw on. And we actually looked better when them substitutions came on. So it is Leicester and Southampton in the semi-final, because the semi-final draw was done at half-time. Leicester reached the FA Cup semi-final for the first time since 1982. And it's the first time we've actually lost to Leicester since September 2014. But we was very, very poor. We give the ball away far too many times. Couldn't string many passes together. Fred was accountable for Leicester's first goal. Obviously, Fred gave it straight to Iheanacho. Fred gave the ball away countless times, and I think he's actually been racially abused on Twitter. Scott McTominay, you can say he was the culprit for Leicester's third goal. McTominay, I think, give away the free kick, and he actually should have dealt with Leicester's third goal. We've only got a few injuries now. Obviously, Marcus Rashford's out injured. He didn't play any part. Bayes got a knock. Juan Mata's injured. And Phil Jones is injured. Obviously, Paul Pogba, he started today. Wasn't really in the game, to be honest with you. Van der Beek, he also started today. And I don't think he was in the game either. Van der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. But Leicester, they had quite a few injuries themselves. There was no Maddison today, and he's one of Leicester's key players. There was no Under, he's out with injury. James Justin, he's out with injury. I think Wes Morgan is still out with injury. Ricardo Pereira, he's also out with injury. Dennis Pryor was injured, he's just come back from injury. But Leicester are a very, very good team. And Brendan Rodgers is a very, very good coach. He's been Leicester manager for 2 years now. He's under contract with Leicester until 2025. And Leicester haven't only been consistent under Brendan Rodgers, they was also very consistent under Claudio Ranieri because they won the title under Claudio Ranieri. And Leicester, they have lost good players in recent years. Don't forget they lost Harry Maguire, they lost Ben Chilwell, they lost Danny Drinkwater, they lost N'Golo Kante, they also lost Riyad Mahrez. But Leicester have got replacements for them because they've done very, very good recruitment under Brendan Rodgers. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers has brought in Timothy Castagne, he was playing today. Obviously brought Under in, brought Fofana in, brought Dennis Pryor in, brought Youri Tielemans in, brought James Justin in, and also brought Perez in. I actually had a lot of confidence coming into this game. I expected Man United to win because we had a very, very good win against AC Milan recently in the Europa League round of 16 second leg. We beaten them 1-0. And it was a good away performance by Man United. Pogba come off the bench and scored the goal. We was in good form prior to this game today. We obviously beat West Ham in our last league game 1-0. Reflecting on that win against West Ham, that assures us a top 4 finish. We even went to the Etihad and beat Man City 2-0, and Man City are the best team in England. Man City could win the quadruple this season. They're going to win the Premier League, they're in the EFL Cup final, they're in the FA Cup semi-final, and they're in the Champions League quarter-finals. And we ended Man City's 21-match winning run. And by the way, first time we'd lost away from home today in a long time. We are still unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. I don't think you can blame Solskjaer for the game, today. I think you can say he probably got it right. Maybe some Man United fans will say Bruno Fernandes should have started from the start. But I said, Bruno Fernandes needed a rest. He did come on in the game, but we have overplayed Bruno Fernandes. So it is now the international break. Our next game is Brighton. Then it's Granada in the Europa League. And then it is Tottenham. I wanted Manchester United to win the FA Cup. We are the second most successful team in FA Cup history. We have won 12. But we haven't won the FA Cup since the Louis van Gaal era. So our only chance of a trophy this season is the Europa League. We are into the quarter-finals of that. And we do play Granada. And we should be winning that one. Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United. So he is safe. Because if we don't win a trophy this year, I think, pressure will be on him. He needs to win a trophy to mark progress. So I'm basically saying the exact same thing as what Gary Neville said recently. Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. There has been a lot of Manchester United fans that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. Sacking him now wouldn't really solve anything, and we couldn't sack him now anyway because there is no one available as far as I'm aware anyway. And I've already said, he's not the long-term manager for Man United, but I hope I'm proven wrong. But we are planning for a long-term future under Ole. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has agreed to sign a new contract worth £9 million a year. So he has been given a pay increase, and sources at Old Trafford said not so long ago that talks are set to begin any time on the new deal, because later on this month Ole enters the final year of his 3-year contract. And yeah, he probably does deserve a new contract, reflecting on the progress he's made. Probably just today was a bad day at the office for Man United. I've probably got to say he is the best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. I've already told you my biggest concerns about Solskjaer. We've got to give him at least another season at the football club. This year's summer transfer window is huge for Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We need to make around 4 signings in the summer. And I'm expecting Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves in the summer, because obviously we've got John Murtaugh, who's our new director of football, and John Murtaugh knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United for like 7 or 8 years. And I said we needed a director of football because I said it's one of the structural changes we need at the club. And obviously we've got Darren Fletcher, that's our technical director, and he knows the club inside out because he endured 2 decades as a player. And obviously Woodward made a statement not so long ago, and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing Solskjaer. You can identify the weaknesses in our squad. I think in the summer transfer window we've got to get a striker in. Someone that can assure us goals. We're in search for the right winner. I think we've definitely got to get a holding midfielder in because Matic is too much of a liability. I think we've got to get a centre-half in. We need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. And I think we've been in search for a right-back, to provide competition for Wan-Bissaka. It actually says we was looking at a couple of goalkeepers who could possibly replace De Gea. De Gea didn't start in goal today. It was Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson has started 6 games in a row now for Man United, so he has had a run of games. But it said we've actually identified 5 key transfer targets for, the summer. Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ole, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. But our board have got a soft stance on Solskjaer, with him being a club legend. I think with Solskjaer being a club legend, that's what saved him at Manchester United. I think disregarding being a club legend, he probably wouldn't have been Man United manager now, because we have endured very, very bad periods under him where you can turn around and say, yeah, he was lucky not to be sacked. Our transfer budget for the summer has been revealed. It's £80 million. That's not enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. A lot of United fans are shocked by our transfer budget, so Solskjaer's planning to sell players in the summer, at least 4. So that bolsters our transfer budget, and he hopes to raise as much as £60 million. So that'll take our transfer budget to £140 million. Solskjaer's already had the transfer summit with our new recruitment team. He's been discussing our transfer targets and discussing our transfer plans for the summer in general. Now, earlier on today, I give you the news on Pedro Neto from Wolves. It says Man United are eyeing a 50 million plus move for Pedro Neto. We're seeing him as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. Back in 2016, he had a trial at Carrington, but he wasn't impressive enough, for us to get him in. He was a teenager when he had his trial at Carrington. Pedro Neto's performances for Wolves have been very, very good. Wolves paid £18 million for him from Lazio. Before he was at Lazio, he was at Braga. He's under contract with Wolves until 2025. And he plays as a right winger. So would you take him at Man United? Obviously, reflecting now on he's been at Wolves, he's obviously well Premier League proven now. Only 21 years of age. I'd love Manchester United to sign Erling Haaland in the summer, but I'm very, very sceptical that he'll come to Manchester United. There's so many clubs that have been in for Erling Haaland, and like he updated you this morning, we have suffered a blow in our pursuit of Erling Haaland, because apparently he favours a move to Real Madrid. Erling Haaland scored twice in Dortmund's 2-2 draw with Cologne. He did actually storm off the pitch. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer said, he was following Erling Haaland's progress and he keeps in touch with Erling Haaland. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Dortmund are demanding in the excess of £100 million. Haaland has a release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. But since his arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund till 2024, and he's been at Dortmund like 15 months. I'd love Man United to sign Declan Rice in the summer, because he's a holding midfielder and we need a holding midfielder. And recently he said that Solskjaer agreed with John Murtough and Darren Fletcher that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing. We'd have to pay around £80 million to get him, because that's what West Ham are demanding. Earlier on this season, it said West Ham were considering lowering their asking price to £50 million. He was relentlessly linked with a move to Chelsea last year. That's when Frank Lampard was in charge. He was Frank Lampard's top target, and Frank Lampard was infuriated when he missed out on Declan Rice. But the main explanations I'd take Rice at Man United is because he's young, he's got a lot of development in him, he breaks up the play well, he's well proven in the Premier League, and he dramatically improves us. We're seeing him as a long-term replacement for Nemanja Matic. Declan Rice has been at West Ham, 7 years now? He's got a contract with West Ham till 2024. Before he was at West Ham, he was at Chelsea. He was in their youth setup for several years. There is players at the club that are not good enough to represent the club. We've got to sell players in the summer transfer window. I think we've got to sell Martial in the summer. Like I said on today's game, Martial was totally isolated and he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for him, but he just hasn't converted them. Martial does not have a long-term future at Man United, but Solskjaer said earlier on this season he was impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate. And, he backed Martial to rediscover his form. We sell him this summer, we'll get 30 million for Martial. Martial was good last season though, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club over 5 years. I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. We need to sell Matic in the summer because he's not good enough to represent the club, and Matic is aging up now, and I've always had my strong reservations about him anyway because he's always been a slow player. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Now Edison Cavani, I actually hope he stays for next season because, to his credit, he has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. He didn't start today, but he did come on. But I like the way Edison Cavani holds up the play. He can create chances. His movement in and out of the box is good, and he can score goals. Can Cavani. But there's actually a good chance he's going to leave in the summer because Football Insider recently said that Edison Cavani has reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season. Cavani's current contract expires in June, so if he leaves in the summer, we won't receive a transfer fee for him. But Solskjaer said prior to this game against Leicester that he hopes Edison Cavani will stay for next season, and Solskjaer revealed that we are in contract discussions with Edison Cavani. Solskjaer said not so long ago that he was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. His father came out the other week and said that he is unhappy Cavani, he's not comfortable in England, and he wants to leave. And reports were stemming from Argentina earlier on this season saying Cavani's decided to leave the club after just one season. Now, do you think we'll sell Donny van der Beek in the summer? Yeah, Donny van der Beek got his start today. He seems to get a lot of starts in the cup competitions, but Donny van der Beek has only started 2 games in the league this season. Most of his appearances have come from the bench. Now, it recently said that Donny van der Beek feels loved at Man United despite his lack of game time, but prior to that, it said that Donny van der Beek wants to quit Man United after just one season. Due to his lack of game time. And he said he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward regarding his future. He has just come back from injury though not so long ago. We got Van der Beek in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons. And he's versatile because he can play in 3 different roles. Paul Pogba, do you still think there's a chance that we'll sell him in the summer transfer window? Now, Solskjaer was saying prior to the Leicester game that he hopes Paul Pogba will sign a new contract. Solskjaer's confirmed we are in talks with Paul Pogba over a new contract. but we've not yet made a formal contract offer. Like I said, Paul Pogba started against Leicester today. And Paul Pogba does bring creativity to the team, and Solskjaer did say that Paul Pogba has been a big miss. He has had a long-running transfer saga though. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. If he was to sell Paul Pogba in the summer, I reckon would get from between 60 to 70 million pounds. Pogba has just come back from a thigh injury. Earlier on this season he had an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. I've always said that Paul Pogba's more effective on the left wing. Paul Scholes not so long ago said the exact same thing. And he was actually more of an advanced role today against Leicester was Pogba. Eric Bailly, we'll sell him in the summer because he isn't getting in the team now, Eric Bailly. And it said prior to this game that Bailly was furious with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He doesn't feel respected or wanted by him. And apparently Bailly's going to refuse a new contract. I think Bailly's got like 15 months left on his current contract. He's actually got a knock at the moment though. He's a good centre-half, but my element of concern about Eric Bailly, he's too injury prone. So in that aspect, he is a liability. David De Gea, there's a good chance we'll sell him in the summer so we can make Dean Henderson our first choice goalkeeper. Yeah, we'll be looking to get rid of Lingard permanently, looking to get rid of Delors permanently. I want to see Jones as well leave this year. So yeah, imagine we sell them players this summer, we'll generate a substantial amount, and that will help us with our rebuilding process. But yeah, like I say, if we do eventually sack Solskjaer, who would you want as his replacement? Because Mauricio Pochettino at one point was the favourite. At one point there was talks of Allegri coming in. There was talks of Tuchel coming in before he went and taken over the Chelsea job. A lot of United fans I think would take Julian Nagelsmann in. We do need someone in with a proven pedigree. Solskjaer hasn't got a proven pedigree, but reflecting now on his being at Man United, he has gained some managerial experience and he has learnt quite a bit on the job. Solskjaer knew when he taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. But we've got to credit him in quite a few aspects. There's some negativity regarding him, but there's some positivity as well. He got us to the FA Cup quarterfinals. He's got us to the Europa League quarterfinals. He got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. Got us a third place finish. Got us qualification for the Champions League and got us to 3 semi-finals. He has made some good signings as Man United manager, but obviously hasn't got all the players in as yet that he wanted to recommend in. In that aspect, the blame stems from the board. The board has been one of the biggest issues at the club for a while. Reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been, and we've overpaid for players, and the managers that we've had haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. So this is why a lot of United fans are being critical of the board. But Solskjaer spent almost 300 million at Man United. He's also got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended in. So they are the positives. Ole has been Man United manager now over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018 and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. A lot of United fans said we give him the job too soon, but we give him the job permanently because he did very, very well as the interim manager. And he is our fourth permanent manager since Ferguson. You know, in the last 8 years, we've been playing catch up. We've made too many mistakes in the last 8 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. I don't know when we're next going to win the Premier League. I don't see us winning the league for the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, and you know, we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier Leagues. One point we was in the title race, but we had a period where we dropped too many points. But the positive is, you know, we're second in the league. We're going to finish in the top 4 this season by the looks of things. And, you know, the Europa League is our chance of a trophy. So if we finish second this season and win the Europa League, I'll turn around and say, yeah, that represents a good season for Man United and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. So yeah, my next video, I'll give you my player ratings. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.